very much, Congressman Mike Thompson, for the invitation to be here today with you and with our colleague, Congressman Jared Hoffman, but more importantly, to be here with the people here, to thank you, to say congratulations to you for what you have accomplished. It is a model for the nation. It is of national significance that you came together as a community, and that word community has the word unity in it. And without that unity, you can't get everything done. I want to thank you. I know that shortly we'll be hearing from Annie Barber, who is our VIP today, speaking from her personal. But until we hear from our VIP, let me share some thoughts with you about all of this. This bipartisan infrastructure law is bipartisan, and that is part of its strength. But the president said when he was advocating for this law, this is great, it's bipartisan, but I will not confine my vision for the country to that bill. So there's much more in the Build Back Better legislation that is being negotiated in the Senate right now and will be imminently the law of the land, and so much more will spring from that. But understand this, your congressmen have been real strong advocates for you, for what you are doing, meeting the needs, but also doing so in a way that is entrepreneurial, fresh in its thinking, even from a grade school young lady that we are all very proud of, who are forming this park in a new and different and special way, to be respectful of the need for quiet, the need for festive, the need for just unity coming together. Our distinguished Mr. Thompson, again, has been, let me say it in a nice way, relentless, persistent, dissatisfied until we can meet the needs. But understand that what he talked about in this bill was just about California. This is about building the nation and building it back better. And you are an example of building back better. Not only did you build back, but better listening, acting in unity, and the rest. And Jared Hoffman is a real champion in the Congress on a subject that Mr. Thompson mentioned in terms of the climate crisis. He's your advocate. He represents your views individually, as a group and all, but he also has the thinking personally, thinking locally, acting globally in terms of the climate crisis, which is part of the reason for so many of the natural disasters. So I don't know where he is right now. Oh, he's the one on crutches. It's not unusual that he would be here today because he's always there for the people of his district. Thank you. And again, I come back to Mike Thompson, my personal friend for many, many years, even before he was in the Congress. But he can have a sternness about him, and he can have an impatience about timelines and the rest. So understand what a great champion he is in the Congress for all of you, for our firefighters. I call our firefighters our nobility. They protect us with their courage. You want me to start all over? just let's hear it from Mike Thompson, our champion, and all that. So he mentioned that he came 4 years ago. It wasn't just me. It was Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, Congressman DeSaulnier, Congresswoman Matsui, in addition to our joining Congressman Hoffman and Congressman Thompson at that time. And that was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to see these pictures. Every lot of story. Every lot of story, and now almost every lot of triumph. We saw then, broke our hearts, homes destroyed, belongings incinerated, memories erased. It was so incredible just to see some places just a chimney, some places one strong thing from the house, but just so much devastation and the melting down of so many things. I mean, it's obviously ingrained in us as to what the danger was. And later we'll hear from our VIP, a survivor of this fire, Annie Barber, who will share her experience, which I'm sure is a shared experience for many. Today, I just want to I hope I don't reiterate too much of what Mike said, but it's very important for you to understand the vast movement of this community's extraordinary resolve and resilience, united in determination to rebuild from the ruin, has been, I'll say it again, an example to the country. You are of national significance. This is a celebration. At the time, billboards in Sonoma County, I said this on the floor many times, as did my colleagues, said the love in the air is thicker than the smoke. And you have really lived up to what we saw that day when we came with all those signs. The love in the air is thicker than the smoke. Clearly, that is true here. That is true here. And that beautiful spirit especially is an inspiration to the rest of the country. Yes, with more severe drought and extreme weather and long fire season, the climate crisis is fueling fires that are larger, fiercer, and more destructive. In just the last 5 years, California has seen 8 of the 10 largest fires on record. 3 of the 5 the deadliest. And in 2021 alone, more than 2.5 million acres in California had burned, an area larger than the whole state of Delaware. The fires have claimed too many lives, and I know that some are lost here, and our prayers are with their families, and too many livelihoods. They have leveled too many communities. Our families are suffering under the orange skies and smoke-filled air, and this crisis demands urgent action, not just to fight firefighting, but to prevent them in the first place. And that really comes back to our members in Congress from this area. Mr. Thompson has been, again, relentless, persistent, disaster. And that's why the California delegation, the 2 of them, not only in their own strength and persuasion, but encouraging other members of the California delegation, as well as Western region members, have fought and won $7.5 billion in the infrastructure bill to make our families safer and communities stronger, and some of that money here for Coffey Park and across California. The law directs, I think, for prevention, response, restoration. It reduces the fuel that feed these fires by thinning overcrowded forest areas, prescribed burns, and prescribed burns where appropriate. Invest in new technologies, ecological diversity, make forests less prone to severe wildfire. And it does, in terms of our firefighters, as Mr. Thompson mentioned, there's a year-round permanent positions for federal firefighters and help retain federal firefighters and raising their pay by up to $20,000 more. It also establishes a Wildfire Commission, which the President announced yesterday. This is just what the impression to give you is this is not just going to be to build, but as you have given the example, to build back better. And again, Mr. Thompson talked about the billions of dollars to enhance the resilience of our electric grid, $3.5 billion to help homeowners fireproof their homes, and all of these ways. And again, to listen to science, not to just say we wouldn't have these fires if we just raked the floors of the floor. To invest in science, cutting edge research, he who shall be nameless, indigenous knowledge as we fight the fire. So I'm sticking to my notes because I would be speaking longer if I just were not. Because this is not, that's that bill. Now Build Back Better. The next bill will have $30 billion more to fight, to combat forest fires and contribute to healthy and resilient forests. Thank you. Thank you very much for making sure that that was in the bill. The largest ever federal investment in fighting the climate crisis. Over $500 billion to fight the climate crisis. The largest commitment to addressing the needs of fighting this climate crisis, to save the planet, to pass it on to future generations responsibly. And many of those provisions are provisions that help. Mr. Thompson was very instrumental in having Green Act tax incentives in the bill that are central to the success of the bill. Nobody did more than he did in terms of making this a true initiative to save the planet for our children. And Mr. Hoffman serves on the select committee that has proposed, suggested these kinds of changes. So we have on the, shall we say, the money side, and on the idea side, our two members here coming together to make the future better in a substantial global way. So we're going to prevent wildfires before they strike. We're going to respond with every tool in our arsenal, including that wonderful fire truck, of which another is on the way, I heard from the fire chief. It's just quite remarkable what has happened. And it all comes back to here. You suffered so much. You came together so beautifully. You listened to each other in terms of how to build back better, which became an inspiration for the country. So I congratulate you for that. I thank you for all of you have done in every aspect, whether it's in public service, in the nonprofit sector, in our security, our first responders, and the rest. But I also come here as Speaker of the House to thank you for sending Mike Thompson and Jared Huffman to the Congress of the United States. And with that, I'm pleased to yield to the distinguished member who shares the representation of Sonoma County, very proudly, the two of them, Congressman Jared Huffman. I yield to you.